Good morning, all you fabulous people. The market's kind of quiet again. Nothing really changing that much. There's a few cards that moved up and down. Uh, Watch out for Tiger stuff and Katsu Dishonor lines. That kind of stuff has moved up, but not very much. So I figured we'd do something a little different again. We're going to go over the top 5 Warrior Majestics, but under $5. This is kind of a budget-oriented video. I just thought I just don't think there's enough budget-friendly content out there, especially in the market space. So I figured I'd start doing a little bit of this, and I started with Warrior because that's what I have the most experience with, so I can give a little bit more thought and talk on it. But we're going to start off with Steelblade Supremacy. This is a Dorinthia specialization. That's part of the reason it's so cheap. But it's a one cost until the end of the turn. Target weapon gains +2, and whenever this weapon hits, draw a card. It also has Go Again. It blocks for 3. So blocking for 3 already in Warrior is really great for that mid-game value-oriented stuff. I really like blocking with 2 cards, sending 2 cards back, and swing with my weapon, hopefully twice. But this card in Dorinthia, I think, is one of the power swing cards you can't really ignore as an opponent playing against Dorinthia. You kind of have to either choose to just kind of take it all and suffer the consequences, or block this so they don't draw cards and basically forfeit your turn. Because if they start drawing a card, you just quickly get outvalued really quick. This is $1 for the white border. I think the black border is about maybe 50 cents cheap or more expensive, but I figured I'd list the cheaper version here. I think these are a solid pickup. Dorinthia is actually doing really good in the meta. I think February has one of the higher win rates here. She's actually at 55% win rate on Talishar, which Talishar isn't the end-all be-all, but she has one of the higher win rates here at the moment in March. Just keep an eye out on her. Shift the Tide of Battle. This is the Heavy Hitters guy card, which is pretty crazy that this card's under $5 already. I think this is a pretty good Warrior staple. It's not as good as Blade Fury, but it's still pretty solid. I do see this going in a lot of decks, especially with decks that are doing front pumps as opposed to the back end bumps. But I guess you could do the back bumps too, back end bumps like Dorinthia doing reactions, because this is also a reaction. 0 cost yellow, target warrior attack with greater attack than its base gets Go Again, which is really great for Dorinthia. Yellow pitch. It's also good for Kasai. But the real value here is the next time an opposing hero is dealt damage this turn, create an agility token. So this can be off a sword swing, this can be off an attack, this could be off of a number of things. But that gets you set up for the next turn. For Dorinthia, getting Go Again is one of the main aspects of your deck to really have those big turns. And to have that checked off the list already for your start next turn is really great. I think this is just a solid round card. It blocks for 3, still a solid value swing game. But this card, I'd keep an eye on it. I don't think this card stays at 450. I think this can go up. I think we're just waiting for a warrior to win a big event, basically, and then this will go back up. The next 2 I'm kind of cheating on. I'm going to do a 2-for-1 here. Bolton and Lumina Ascension. This is from Monarch. Lumina Ascension is basically the reason you play Bolton anyway. Until the end of the turn, weapons you control gain +1, and if this hits, reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a light card, put it into your hero's soul and gain 1 life. Otherwise, put it on the bottom of your deck. So that effect already is really great, especially for Bolton, being able to give it Go Again off of his hero ability, as well as making your your soul even, basically, by giving it go again. You put in a card, you take out a card. But the second half of this card makes the card go crazy. If you've charged this turn, you may attack an additional time with each weapon you control, and it has go again. So the cool thing is there's this card called Spirit of Arena that is an item that Bolton can play out of his hand, and then makes Lumina Ascension an instant. So since it has go again on Lumina Ascension at an instant speed, that gives you an action point, which Bolton is very action point reliant. If his stuff doesn't have go again, a lot of his stuff doesn't have natural go again. You have to get it off of his ability. Stuff like Bolt of Courage. The one that hits, if you charge a card, draw a card, it's really hard to give go again. A lot of times your opponent will just face tank the damage and let you draw the card because you can't give it go again. But then you can kind of trap card them and put Lumina Ascension out at instant speed and say, oh, I got my card and my thing has go again. So now this turn's going to get pretty crazy. Similarly, Beacon of Victory. This is also a yellow for Bolton, and it blocks 3 as well. This card is just everything Bolton wants in one card rolled in. And it's $1. I think this card stays at $1 unless Bolton wins like Pro Tour or like Worlds or something. I do think Bolton's also really strong into the meta currently. A lot of attack action heavy decks to give him +1s and go again on his stuff. He's won a good chunk of Road to Nationals. I'd keep an eye on him. We'll see what he does this weekend at Pro Tour. Also, to lump in Beacon of Victory, this card and Lumina Ascension are main reasons Bolton is so hard to give new cards, because if you give him too much, he just very quickly goes off with these 2 cards and then outvalues everything down the road. Excuse me. Beacon of Victory is a 0-cost attack reaction. As an additional cost to play Beacon of Victory, banish X cards from your hero's soul. X can't be 0. So you can choose 1 to whatever from your soul. Typically I do 1 banish, and sometimes you can do all the way to 3 if you're doing really heavy. This is basically a Lumina Ascension tutor, as you can see in the second half. Target attack action gains +X. If you've charged this turn, search your deck for an attack action card. An action card with cost X or less. Reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. So, like I said, this is basically a Lumina Ascension tutor. It also helps me in games. I can Beacon of Victory if I have a big soul and just kind of go crazy on like the last attack and overpower, catch my opponent off guard with a plus like 4 or 5 to an attack that they didn't respect properly. But this can also you can also attack, react, banish 1 card from soul, and then get Lumina Ascension, then play Lumina Ascension at instant speed, and then you get another action point, as well as your sword goes crazy again. These 2 cards are just wild. Basically, Bolton's big power cards, and they're under $5 for a warrior, which is kind of just crazy. I think Bolton's just too niche of a hero at the moment. He's a lot of fun. I recommend anybody that's likes his aesthetic or even kind of his play style. The kind of downside to him is you have to charge cards out of your hand, so a good chunk of the time you're playing with 3 cards out of hand as opposed to everybody's 4 to activate a lot of his abilities. But Raiden makes up for that. That's an honorable mention there. Raiden's very good for $1 or 60 cents as well. Iron Soog Pride. This card, $2.88. Dynasty Majestic. I think the one downside to Iron Sign Pride is it's an instant and doesn't have a block value for warrior, so you can get stuck with awkward hands with this in your hand and just kind of die or take a serious on-hit effect that you don't want to. But I do think if you're going to go aggro warrior, this could be very swingy. Allows you to high roll your opponent. But anyway, it's a 1 cost. Put a +1 counter on target sword you control. When Ironsong Pride leaves the arena, remove all +1 counters from your sword you control. At the beginning of your end phase, if a sword has not hit this turn, destroy Ironsong Pride. So this, I think, is really good with Dorinthia, but it doesn't fit into her current value style gameplay. It doesn't really fit into Bolton, and everybody's kind of going a more mid-game value oriented. Nobody's really going race or aggro warrior that I've seen so far, which is where I think this card shines. I could see this in maybe an Olympia sword build with like wagers to give an extra kind of breakpoint. But this card, it just hasn't found its place in the metagame yet. I do think this card, keeping a +1 counter on a sword for as long as a sword hits every turn, is really strong, especially when you talk about breakpoints and eking out chip damage, or just on hits and that kind of stuff, or wagers. I'd keep an eye on this. I think this card will eventually find a foothold in the meta, but I think it's a good pickup for the future. And last but certainly not least, Route. This is a WTR or History Pack card. This card was one of the strongest attack actions for Warrior in the game up until Heavy Hitters. I do think this card is very good and still can be really good as a 1 of or maybe a 2 of in your deck to kind of throw your opponent off or to catch them off guard. But it's a 2 cost. Target weapon attack gains +3. If the reprise, if the defending hero has defended with a card from hand, this chain link, you may return target non-equipment defending card to its owner's hand. So this is really good against like Victor or Tekla or because returning blocks or the Evos are considered non-equipment. They're considered action cards, I believe. So returning those back on these defensive to try to get either a on hit through, like making sure Dorinthia gets a counter, or a wager, or this can just straight up in games if your opponent's not careful. You can catch a lot of people off guard with this and kind of sneak away some wins with this card. And for 50 cents for this card, it blocks 3 and it's a 2 cost. Yeah, and if you block with this and your opponent's like hyper aware of it, then he's always looking for the second or third route copies. So this card does command a lot of respect. I think it's kind of downside at the moment is it's a 2 cost. And most of the decks I've seen are not running nearly as many. They're very resource efficient, and having a 2 cost is kind of clunky in it. But I think this card is definitely worth 50 cents. I would pick up a playset if you're interested in playing Warrior at all. I think this card will probably find its place in the meta again, and is worth the money. I probably think this is my best buy for this video. Thank you all. Have a great day. Bye.